Welcome, I'm Kenneth Manesse with KEYtoVEGAShome.com, where just one click you can have a less stressful, faster real estate experience. I'm a licensed real estate professional here. That's a hard word to say. In Las Vegas, empowered by EXP, and you're either watching or listening to Inside Secrets, what I wish my agent would have told me about buying or selling real estate. Each week we have an expert guest, and this week we're going to talk about this process called underwriting. Most people have heard about pre-approved, pre-qualified, but we're going to talk about underwriting and why that's important when you go out to buy a home. If you'd like to get a copy of this book, Inside Secrets, I'd love to give you a hard copy for free. You just go to KEYtoVEGAShome.com, and there's a homeowner tab there. Click the link and you can get a book mailed to you for free. And with that, I'll give you a monthly statement on how your home is doing in your neighborhood. If you want a digital download, there's also a link there. You can get the book right now. So let's get started on what this idea about underwriting is all about with our expert guest. And let me give you a little bio. Thanks for being on our show, Quint Zuhlke. Make sure I got that last name right, with Guaranteed Rate. Quint is actually born and raised here in Las Vegas, loves it, and wishes and encourages everybody to get out because he loves rock climbing. He loves the outdoors, and most people don't know there's 100+ parks here that you can enjoy each and every weekend or with your family or just anytime. Quint served 6 years with the U.S. Army. He actually took 2 tours in Baghdad for a total of 26 months. He is with Guaranteed Rate, and he's going to help us understand this process we call underwriting. Quint Zuhlke, welcome to the show, Inside Secrets. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Kenneth. Thank you for having me.
Hey, excited about this because I can't tell you how many times in my inbox I get from agents that have a pre-qual buyer or a pre-approved buyer. And my question always is, are they underwritten? So Quint, break it down for us. What does it mean to be pre-approved, pre-qualified, or underwritten?
Well, people have varying definitions of pre-qualification, pre-approval. What it really should mean, the pre-qualification, most process should include a mortgage application and a credit report and a conversation with your loan officer, going over what program you're trying to qualify for, reviewing the information you provide on your loan application, which usually consists of your credit history, your income, your assets, and the property that you're looking at. Once they review your credit report and your application, then they can identify the program that you qualify for that's the best fit for you and your goals for your home purchase, and then you can be pre-qualified. You want to take it the next step further, which would be a pre-approval. That is getting the documentation needed to verify the information you provide on your application. Some of that stuff will be your pay stubs, your W-2s, your bank statements, tax returns potentially. If you own some property, maybe some information about that property. Once your loan officer reviews that information, they can make sure it qualifies. Everything has to qualify and meet certain guidelines. Your pay stubs have certain requirements. So does your tax returns, your W-2s. They review that, and then they can. Then you'd be pre-approved. They're also going to run it through a first level underwriting, which is the automated underwriting system. It's software that's going to review the overall risk of your loan, of the loan file, and it's going to give you an approval. So once they do that, you're officially pre-approved. The next level, which most lenders don't do, is putting it in front of an actual underwriter. That is a physical person that is going to review and sign off on all those loan documents, your application, your credit, and they're the ones that actually give you an approval. The loan officer themselves, they cannot give you an approval. It's the underwriter that gives you that actual approval and verifies the guidelines. Once you have that, then you could shop confidently, know that there's not going to be any issues. When you submit your offer in, you're going to give the seller, the listing agent, so much peace of mind knowing that as long as their home meets the value that the sales price you agree upon, and there's no outstanding conditions, there's no defects with the home, that you're going to have a smooth mortgage process, and that the sale is going to be completed on time.
Yeah. And this is so important. I can't tell people how important. Here's the thing that you hear all the time in our industry, and that is the home fell out of escrow. And you and I know what that means, Quint. And what I try to educate my sellers are that, listen, if we get an offer and somebody isn't underwritten, 95% of the time, that means that there's going to be a potential problem that will come up in underwriting. And if we accept this offer and go into contract, they need to know that this buyer might have something that underwriting says, no, they don't qualify, and the home falls out of escrow. That is so crucial to the purchase process, to get with your lender, to reach out to Quint and say, okay, I need to be underwritten. Ken says I need to be underwritten before he takes me out to see a house. Help them understand how long that process is and how much work they have to do to be underwritten.
For the buyer, there's no really additional work as far as getting underwritten. They may need to provide additional documentation. Once the underwriter reviews their file, they may ask for some additional documentation, but it's usually not much. So the work is usually all on the loan officer and his underwriting team to review that and review those documents. If you have a pre-approval letter, and it happens all the time, I get buyers from realtors that come into me and say that, I'm already pre-approved, but, they suggest I talk to you. Usually the first question I ask, who they're pre-approved with, and did they even have they gathered any of your documentation? Usually the answer I always get is, no, we just had a conversation and gave me a letter. And like you pointed out, falling out of escrow, it's a lot of times it's not on the buyer, it's on that loan officer that did not do their proper due diligence and gather the proper documentation. Part of your loan application, you're going to say, I make X amount a year. You're going to tell them what you actually make and bring home each year. But like I pointed out earlier, it has to qualify. For many people that are self-employed, there's usually most loan programs require that you're self-employed for 2 years. And on your tax returns, you're going to write off expenses. You're going to quote what your gross income is, but you're writing off expenses. And for us, we have to take those expenses into account. So you may have made in your business $100,000, but you might have wrote off $40,000 last year because you had to drive around, you had to buy product or what have you. So for most times, we have what you actually made grossly isn't what we can use to qualify you. So it's usually not on the person that's trying to buy the home. It's that loan officer that didn't do their due diligence and make sure that what they put on the application meets the guidelines. So if you have a pre-approval letter and you haven't shown any documentation to that loan officer, you might want to speak with another loan officer that is going to thoroughly pre-approve you, because you don't want to go out there and get your hopes up, look at your dream home, and then all of a sudden have it fall out of escrow because someone didn't do their due diligence and protect you.
Yeah. The first thing I do when I get an email with an offer is I pick up the phone, I call the agent, and I say, tell me about your buyer. And I can't tell you how many times real estate agents are so excited to get a buyer in their car or out on the property, but at the end of the day, they haven't helped their buyers have success. And if you really are wanting to have success in buying and selling real estate, you've got to get this process done way ahead of the time. I can tell my buyers that, listen, when we go through the underwriting process and we're completely underwritten, it's like cash. It's really like going out and saying to any potential seller, hey, listen, we are completely underwritten. All we need is a contract, an appraisal, and a property address, and we can close. So with guaranteed rate, what are some of the timeframes? Let's say someone's gone through all the process, they've gotten themselves underwritten. How soon can they close? Because everybody feels like escrow has to happen for 30 days. So someone's underwritten, Quint, how long before they can close on their dream home?
If they're fully underwritten, then we just have to get the appraisal done on the property, and we have methods in place to where we can get the appraiser out there the same day, and usually have it back within 48 hours. Underwriters are going to review your appraisal, and they're going to sign off. So if you're fully underwritten, you're looking at potentially 10 days or less that you can close. Yeah. And that provides a great value to the seller because they're usually leaving their home into another one, and they're acting as a buyer on another transaction. So they may have a tight time frame they're operating on. So the difference between you being underwritten and not could be the difference between them accepting your offer or going with someone else. So you're really coming in with the strongest and best offer. Even if maybe it's not the highest offer, but you're providing the best safety and assurance to that seller that there's nothing that's going to fall through.
And you just said something there, Quint, and that is that what people don't realize is that when you're working with me, you're actually having me negotiate on your behalf, either selling the home or buying the home. And if you're buying a home and I'm negotiating and I have the power of an underwriting with a quick close, and it's one of the reasons why we say a less stressful, faster real estate experience, because I help my buyers do just that. In the beginning, we take care of all the stressful stuff, getting their documentation, pulling out, their tax returns, their W-2s, all that kind of stuff. Get that stuff done for when you're not stressing out about being an escrow and potentially losing your dream home. Get that stuff taken care of in the front end, and then you can enjoy the process of buying a home, and it can happen faster. So, Quint, someone goes through the underwriting and they get a underwritten approval, and you just said something. I just want to help make sure that buyers understand, and this is clarified for them. So they get a home in contract, they get an appraisal, and then I heard you say that the underwriter reviews. So does that mean there's a second stage to the underwriting process? Help them, because I just want to make sure that they understand what that meant.
So when they get the appraisal, the underwriter is going to review it and make sure that there's guidelines for everything. So to make sure the appraiser has all the pertinent information in there. The appraisal has certain guidelines it has to meet. So they're just going to review that. The main thing obviously they're looking for is that it has the proper value, that it appraised for what you guys agreed on the sales price. So they're looking at that, and they're looking at the condition of the home, making sure the property is in good shape, and there's a lot of guidelines that go through, but that is a fairly quick process. So for that's they can have that done within usually a 48-hour return time from the underwriter, and then after that we've already had the other stuff behind us as far as reviewing the borrower. So all the underwriter is looking at is the appraisal, so they can do a lot quicker. And
there's one thing that most people don't realize, and they get so excited about getting the process of doing all of the underwriting, and now they got their home in contract and we're going to close early. And there's one thing I keep reminding my buyers not to do during this process. It's crucial to the buying process, and that is, one, don't go get any new credit cards. Don't open any new accounts. Quint, why is that a problem?
Well, if you're opening new credit accounts, you could impact your credit score. You're also potentially adding new debt to yourself. So that's going to change the underwriting approval. You have new debt, so that's something you have to calculate in. Does it automatically disqualify you? No, but it does add some extra days, because now we have to get information about that new account. Because if you open an account, it takes 30 or 45 days for it to hit your credit report. So now we may have to get some additional documentation, have to verify that new account that it's hit your credit, and redo that loan approval. So you've added some more days to the process. So the underwriting is good as long as your situation is the same. So that's one of the things that your launcher should go through with you, the steps that you don't want to do while you're in the home buying process. Opening new credit accounts, moving large amounts of money around, changing jobs, those can affect any of those aspects of your loan approval.
And in our industry, you and I know this idea because you said move money around. So I want to drill down into that a little bit. What we like to say is the money seasoned? And if you're taking, and let's just say, for instance, you're a first-time home buyer, you went through the underwriting process, and the parents go, "Oh my God, we're so excited for you. Here's a check for $5,000. We want to help you buy some furniture with that new home." And you get so excited, you run down and put it in your bank account. What happens to the underwriting process?
So that money can be used. It just has to be what we like to call tracked and sourced. We have to know where it came from. We have to follow the trail of money and find, in that case, we have to know where it came from, document why you got the money, and document going into your account. So again, that any of those things can add days to your loan process. So you want to have full disclosure with your loan officer. Let them know if you plan on getting money from anywhere, and that's usually a question your loan officer should ask you when you're going through that pre-qualification process. And that's why it's so important when they're asking not just how much money do you have to purchase a home, where is it coming from? Because there is also sources that you're not allowed to get money from. So that is a big part of that pre-approval process, pre-qualification process is how much money you have, where is it coming from, and doing all that paper trail up front. Because once you're in you have an accepted offer, you're thinking about moving, you're thinking about picking out, furniture, you're thinking about your kids are picking out their rooms, you're worried about packing up your current house and moving it. You don't want to be digging through files and trying to dig up documentation for your loan officer. You want to get that out of the way up front, and you can focus on moving into your new home and not adding days onto that loan process.
And the last one, I always go through this, and this is a true story. I had somebody that was underwritten. We were actually buying the house. We were getting enclosed, and I think that time that contract was 18 days, and we were just waiting because it was in an HOA, so we had to wait for the package to come in so they could review it. And I'm excited because we're going to do our final walkthrough, and I get a telephone call. Oh, hey, Ken, everything is so perfect right now. And I said, well, yeah, and this is why you can have a less stressful, faster real estate experience. They said, no, I just got offered my dream job, and this is going to help me so much. And I said, wait, time out. Are we changing jobs during the middle of this process? Because that could be a huge impact on your underwriting in the process. So we work through that, but help people understand that's another thing they have to be considering. I mean, yes, you got a new mortgage and, you get a great job offer. Everything's, everything's aligning. The stars are going, everything's great, but yet you go, oh, I'm going to get this new job, more money. It's going to be greater. What would happen with an underwriting if someone changes jobs during that process?
That's going to depend on the type of loan program that you're getting approved for. Is it going to automatically disqualify you? Not necessarily. Depends on the loan program, but that's something we have to discuss with the loan officer, with your realtor, because you're also going to have to make sure that you're still within those timelines that you agree to with with a purchase. So again, full disclosure with all parties involved is the best case scenario. If that is even something that's on the horizon, that you have a resume or you have an application, you're going through the interview process with a new company, let your loan officer know. You want, again, full disclosure. We want to take steps to protect you throughout this whole process, and we can position you in the best way. And so we can set the proper timelines. If we know that's going to happen, we can at least prepare you up front before you submit your offers and make sure that we're putting in a timetable that works, and that's not going to compromise the purchase of your new home. So any of those issues that you could think could potentially pop up and affect it, definitely discuss it with your loan officer, and make sure that they know. So I don't want you to be surprised with the loan process. Don't let your loan officer be surprised in the loan process, because they can't protect you if they don't know something that's coming up.
Yep.
And something to revisit with the pre-qualification, pre-approval process, it sounds like a lot. That time frame can happen within 24 hours. The application, the credit, gathering your documents. Usually the longest part of that is for you to gather all those documents. The borrower themselves, tax returns, sometimes you don't have those readily available. But that process can be as quick as 24 hours or even just a couple hours, just the time to review those documents. So when it sounds like a lot of time that's invested, it doesn't necessarily have to be a long process to get from pre-qualified to pre-approved, and then the underwriting process is no time on you. It's on your loan officer and their team. So I don't want to intimidate borrowers by thinking that's a lot of stuff to go through. It can be, but definitely you want to do that outside of the time you're purchasing a home. Take care of that stuff up front, and let's not put that in the time where you're moving your family and your life's a little bit more in.
Yeah.
in transition.
So important. And people don't realize, and I let people know, they go, well, that's a lot. I say, well, listen, everything's online. Your bank statements are online, your W-2. I mean, almost everything that we get is online. And what I have them do is just take all those documents that you're requesting, you get them all in PDF form. Once they contact you at Guarantee Rate, they get a secure portal, right? Where they just upload the documents, and it's really not about having and going and scanning and going to your bank and getting, and then, it's really not that complicated. It really is just a matter of putting those documents in a folder on your desktop. They're all PDFs by most of the time, and then just one by one, as Guarantee Rate starts asking for them, you just upload them. It's a quick, simple process. It doesn't take much time. Quint, how can people get a hold of you so that if they're ready to make that step into the real estate world and buy their dream home, how can they get a hold of you?
Best way to get a hold of me is on my cell phone. That's also my office line. It's 702-271-7855. You can reach me directly on my website as well, rate.com/Quint Zuhlke. Right there, you can start the pre-approval process right on my website. I'm available 7 days a week, so call, text, email. I'd love to help you out with the home buying process, educate you, and it's never too early to start that pre-qualification process. Even if you're thinking about not buying for a year, at least explore your options, know all the steps, get pre-qualified, and get some education on the process so you're better prepared when that day comes that you're ready to buy your dream home.
Yeah. And we'll put all of the, in the show notes, all of Quint's contact information. And what Quint said is so important. And that is, listen, if you're not in the process of buying right now and you're not moving or, changing jobs and all those kind of things, this is the perfect time to talk to Quint about your home purchase, even though you haven't even picked a dream home, because you want to do all of the due diligent work up front so you don't have to stress, you don't have to worry about it. And it really does make the home buying process less stressful and faster. Listen, get a hold of Quint. The reason why we do the show Inside Secrets is because of the fact that people don't realize that when you start working with an expert, you get all the benefits of their years of experience so that you can have something that's enjoyable and less stressful. I also want to encourage you, if you would like to get the book, Inside Secrets, it's easy. Just go to KEYtoVEGAShome.com, look for the homeowner tab there. You can download the book. I put this book together because I wanted people to help them understand there is a process when you work with experts that is less stressful and it's guaranteed. Besides, it's faster, and who doesn't want a faster real estate experience? So I want to thank you for watching the show. Quint, I want to thank you for being our guest. We're looking forward to helping serve people each and every week on the podcast. Do yourself a favor, subscribe, like, however you're watching or seeing this, make sure you make a comment. We would love to hear what questions you have so that we can have guests on it that answer your questions. So with that, Quint, thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for serving my clients and being on the show. It's been a great show, Quint. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kenneth.